this is Jack at TC3. Today we're gonna fix a p0442 0443 code that's on a Malibu, a Chevrolet Malibu. That's the purge valve solenoid, and it is an electrical component, so we're gonna unhook our battery leads here. Yeah, so I'm gonna just pull up and then pry it up a little bit. There we go. Anyway, you don't want to have any kind of glitch. It'll blow out the new one, solenoid valve. Anyway, you're going to want to remove your air cowl. You're going to need two 8mm bolts on this and just loosen them, and that's flexible, of course. It'll pull off your PVC hose. This has one of them squeeze clamps, and remove that. And you're going to pull out your flexible air tube here. And check that in a little while for cracks. Okay, 8mm bolt to remove the boot that goes around the throttle body. So you loosen that up, remove your oil cap. You don't take that off, you'll be wondering why you can't get that off. Anyway, pull it from the front, pull it off the throttle body first, and then there's just two push. Don't bend it up like I did just there. You can break the plastic. I should have pulled up from the back. Anyway, put your fill cap back on your oil hole and just keep the junk out of there. Anyway, here's your purge valve, and it's on the right side of the motor if you're standing in front of the car. So you see that little tab? You just pull that down and pull this hose off, the one in front. Very, very simple. It's real easy to push, so it's not a big deal. On the bottom, you have an electrical connection. You're going to push that red tab down and backwards. There we go. Get that out of there. And on the top, there's a hose, and it's got this little lock piece of plastic. It looks like a piece of, it looks like a little horseshoe, okay? And be careful. They break real easy. And, yeah. Like I said, they break real easy. So, yeah, now this will just pull off. There we go. There we go. Now, all the connections to the purge valve are off. This is the new one. That's a General Motors number and the AC Delco number right there. Okay, that's it. The new one. And you're going to take your rubber boot, give it a good look over, because what that valve is doing that's causing them codes, it's letting air into the motor when it's not supposed to be. This boot can do the same thing. If there's a crack or a hole in it, it can cause the same code. So, you know what, 9 times out of 10 it's the purge valve. But, you know, might as well take a look as long as you got it off. Anyway, 8mm bolt. There's a bracket that holds this purge valve, and I just find it easier to just take this off. It's one bolt and do that. You can see there's a wiring harness attached to the bracket. See this little nub? Rather than taking the round one off, I just kind of squeeze this together and push it through and push it back on when I'm reassembling it. This actually is a little simpler. There we go. So anyway, now you're going to want to remove your purge valve from the bracket. So you stick a flathead screwdriver in there. There's a little piece of metal sticking up that kind of locks it on there. So you push the metal down, and with the other hand push the purge valve back. And there we go. It should come off. I'll show you that in a second. You see that middle prong? That's like up ever so slightly, and that's what locks that tab. You see that little tab in the back? Yeah, it kind of goes around that. So that's how that locks on there. It's not really like it's going anywhere, okay? But anyway, I bent it down a little while I was getting it out. So I'll bend it up just a hair. You know, so when you push it back on, it'll lock again. And no big deal. See? Just a hair. Anyway, old off, new one on, and you just slide it on there, and then it'll kind of click past that piece of metal we just pried up, and she's on there. There's the hole that your bolt goes in. I can't remember if that's an 8 or a 10 millimeter bolt. Anyway, that's how that mounts, and there's like a little piece of metal out that holds it. There's holds it in the right orientation. There's a little dig in the block for that. So I put most of it on by hand because it's kind of busy there with the wires and hoses and all that. And I probably tighten that a little more. This thing's not going anywhere. So push your electric. You heard that snap when it went in. That's what you're listening for. Put your hose back on the rear, and you're going to put your little lock back in. My lock was broken, so I didn't end up having to buy a new one because there was enough of it left to lock that on there. If you can get a new one, I don't know what it costs. It can't cost like $1 or something. But anyway, slide the hose on the front, and there's that little tab on the side. I don't really think you need to push it to get it on there. I think it just snaps on, but just for ease of assembly, I just did that. You know, plastic gets old. I didn't want nothing to break. Okay, terminal back on the battery. Tighten that up. I'll hang on to that wire so it don't want to twist around, which of course it would want to twist around. And yeah, she's on there. Alright, here's the boot that goes on your throttle body. That's got an 8 millimeter on it to tighten. And when you're putting this cowl back on, you want to make sure that that gets seated onto your throttle body properly and not folded under or leaking or half on and half off, because that'll cause problems for you as well. So I'm just going to set the those two mounts in the back. They just push on with rubber grommets, but I want this front on there, so I'll mess with this a little bit to make sure it's on there good. Push it on, and you know, you're gonna have to look or put your hands under there and feel to see if that thing's on there. Yeah, I pushed it back. I saw it come up a little, so I'm kind of, yeah. I just want to make sure it's on there right, that's all. There was a time I did this and it wasn't, so it can happen. Anyway, once I know I do have it on right, put your oil cap back on. You got that, you push on the back of them and they'll seat onto those little, it just pushes down into them grommets. Anyway, 8 millimeter, tighten her up. I'll reach under there too, make sure that feels good. I actually look, but PVC hose back onto the air intake cowl. It's got one of the squeezy clips, just get that back where it belongs. There we go. Okay, your intake hose. There's two slots on that. The slot with the little skinny side, like you can see that right there, goes closer to the motor, and the other one goes closer to the air box. You can't mix them up. One's like 2 inches wide and one's a 1/4 inch wide. You pretty much can't mess this up. You just got to make sure that boot's totally on the tube, and all the tube for the air box and the tube for the cowl. So tighten them up, 8 millimeters. So because the battery was unhooked, that'll clear that check engine code, so that'll go off. And start her up. Sounds good, feels good. You can clear that also with the scanner, that check engine light, and that's actually the better way to do it. But a few weeks later, she's still just fine. That was it. It's almost always that purge valve for that. Thank you for watching.